Let's give this another controller a look-see. I let it sit for about 2 days, so it should be very thoroughly dried. And if that doesn't change the condition, either I'll have to look into replacing that potentiometer, the X-axis on the left stick, or I just find another controller. So I currently don't have any other series controllers, so I'm just going to have to shelf this console probably for a little while. Or just sell it as an individual unit without the bells and whistles of the additional controller. Grab it to power, plug it into my capture card, get it powered up. Change the input on my monitor so I can see the capture card output, and I don't have batteries. Signing in. Let's go to Xbox accessories again. That seemed to be the most meaningful test. And then go to recalibrate the left thumbstick. Now that is still over on the right-hand side of the center. But the key here is whether or not it actually registers an input. So I'll just recalibrate it for the hell of it. And then since First Descendant was kind of my representative game, I'll hop back into that to see if I can get that left stick drift to reappear. I mean, if TMR sticks weren't just outrageous in their install process, I would just swap everything out. Actually, I might be a little better on these series controllers, but the Elite controllers, I can't say the same. Alright. I don't know if it's going to force me to do an update on this game, or if it just downloaded it in the background. Which, I mean, the thing was unpowered for 2 days, so can't see that happening. So the drift was very much present just on the main menu, just with this cursor. It looks like that did it. I'm not able to get that drift scenario that I detected earlier. Keep going a couple more times. Let me just play a little bit to see if it will reappear. I will have a little bit of menu navigation here at the beginning. One more. Got a new dog. Now I did see it drift there just for a second, but this game also grabs my cursor. It's especially aggressive here on the the map. Nope, it's back. Well, that's unfortunate. So this controller is going to need physical repair. No amount of cleaning is going to fix that. Well, it sure was worth a shot. Now I'm going to have to look and see what I have. Just put the controller aside, or the console aside, since it's really no longer about that anymore. I'll have to see what I have as far as parts. I might just have potentiometer parts I can just hot swap over. Should probably just get my soldering equipment going. My desolder gun takes a little bit to heat up. I did just clean it, so it should be operating very nicely. And then, kind of like before, if I do, depending on the result of this, if I even can hot swap it. Well, it won't necessarily be a hot swap, but if I can swap it and it does look promising, I'll just clean it really good and then let it sit for another couple days, day or two. See how it responds. What I might end up doing is just selling that console on its own. And then just sell this controller on its own. But I haven't... I'll just see how well this goes. If it goes well at all, I should say. So it's the left stick, X-axis, so it's going to be these 3 contact pads down here. The right antenna goes on the bottom. If I get it in a vise, I should just be able to hold it like this. And I think I have my... I do have some thumbsticks off of an Elite controller. I'm going to make the assumption that the parts are going to be the same, at least as far as like the potentiometers are. And I shouldn't have damaged them. Well, at least as far as like the stick module is concerned, it's completely demolished, but the potentiometers should be fine. Yeah, they look fine. Alright, let's give this a shot. Should be pretty easy, hopefully. I'm electing I'm gonna make this a little easier on myself. Just break it off, and then remove each pin one by one. Always one. This one on the far end must be the ground pin. Seemingly just laughing at my solder iron. clean a little later once I get this on. Now this should be as easy as just sliding it into the recesses and clipping it on. Kind of like that. Whether or not it's actually this easy, well, I guess I'm gonna find out, because I still have to solder it back on. Should is going to be the easiest part. And we'll see how this one performs. Or if they're even compatible. I mean, I'm just kind of guessing here. Let me inspect this middle joint. It looks a little strange. Can't quite put my finger on what's wrong. Almost like I yanked out the via. That doesn't seem right. I don't think I'm gonna find that pin that I just took out. See if there's a via attached to it. Let's hope that's not the case. Well, I'll know pretty quickly if it is. So let me get it back together enough to test, to verify that. I'll just hook it up to Gamepad Tester again. I need to put some screws in this so it holds it in place. All right. These are connected via USB-C. Yes, they are. Let me bring up the Gamepad Tester. That's my notes. Here it is. Okay, well, the controller is hooked up. I need to put the faceplate on the controller so I can at least replicate the maximum ranges. I mean, now it's got drift on the left-hand side. I did put a new potentiometer in it, so I could probably try recalibrating it. Let me get that going here. Stand by. Xbox accessories. Let me do left stick. So yeah, it is a little off. Let's just see if I can recalibrate it. Should probably put a screw in this faceplate. Because I don't think I'm really holding it down very well across the left thumbstick. Curious. So, I mean, I'd say it's about the same, more or less. It's not better, nor is it worse. The not better part being kind of the most important. I'm gonna put a screw in the back. try it again. Oh, that's my notes. Gamepad tester again. It could just be the stick assembly itself. It's not going back to center. Less so much the potentiometers. What a pain. Well, I don't think there's much I can do with what I have. Like, realistically, I should probably just get new sticks. New entire sticks for this thing. Because the ones that Microsoft use are just ass, apparently. I mean, this is not the first time I've ever had stick drift on an Xbox controller. I've had to pretty much sell a bunch of different controllers back to GameStop of all places because they had drift. Let's just say it's made my want to game on a console less and less over time. Because these input devices are just awful. Or they're just, well, not awful, I shouldn't say that. Poorly made, I should say, is the other. Or maybe less poorly made and more just cheaped out. And I think I did get rid of that. I somehow ripped that V out. I don't know how that's possible. That doesn't seem to impact the performance of the stick. What I should do is actually flush out my new stick. wondering if that made any difference. Oh, faceplate's not on. Interestingly, yes, it did make a difference. I'm wondering if I should spray some lubricant inside the thumbsticks. I'm wondering if that's the main problem. I'm gonna have to go get some. So I just have some general purpose lubricant. Oh, I'll get this out of the way. I've used this on an Elite controller thumbsticks that I dried out with some contact cleaner, and it's still working fine. Because what would happen is after I hit it with the contact cleaner, it dried it out. I would go to the make diagonal inputs and the thumbstick would just like snag. I should probably separate this and just try and keep everything from overspraying. Or keep it from overspraying, I should say. Oh, I have it screwed in. The worst thing that this will do is nothing. So I'm more than happy to contribute to nothing, but I'll have to let it sit for a day or two. Just to make sure it's all honky-dory. And there's no, like, short-term results that sort of throw off what should be a more objective result. This will be kind of difficult. Because the best thing about aerosol is it gets everywhere instead of where you want it to go. There we go, that should be plenty. Try and flush out any of the other contact points. I don't think the lubricant will do anything negatively. Never hurts to be a little careful. Smells nice. Alright. Let that sit, or I'll get it back together, let it sit, and see what it does in a couple days. Or tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling. Because that could be really all it needed, was just the joystick itself just needed a little bit of lubricant. So that it can return back to center. Because if it's not being allowed to go back to center due to friction, then no amount of potentiometers me swapping out would do anything. I should have probably tried that first before I went going to replace the potentiometers. But nothing ventured. I was more willing to blame the potentiometer than I was the actual stick assembly. On very little, well, on sort of more anecdotal evidence that it's more likely that the little carbon pad itself was damaged, but on a controller this new, and especially in this shape, it wasn't heavily used. Or at least it didn't have the appearance of being a very heavily used controller. There we go. Well, let's just say if the lubricant does produce very promising results, that's definitely something I'm going to have to put in my repertoire for joystick maintenance. I feel rather hopeful, so we'll see. Get rid of this. Okay, I'll leave it like that and see what it looks like in a couple days.